I don't know when people here are going to wake up and realize that the Democrats and Republicans don't have your best interest in mind.
Well, I agree with you. Let me give you the headline because the guys were able to actually pull it up so you can read it, and it has a link to the White House announcement, and so radio listeners can also find it. The headline up at Infowars.com from that article states, and we'll throw that back up on screen here real quick. DHS cell phone alert system follows you around. Presidential message to have their own distinctive ringtone, and we have links to the White House announcement and the Department of Homeland Security statement. And get this, Governor, Walmarts are phasing in telescreens with big sis on them, telling you to look out for terrorists.
Well, I guess they're going to inform us well, Alex. Isn't that a wonderful public service they're doing for all of us?
Weren't you in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where they have billboards saying, watch your neighbors? It's called The Running Man?
Yeah. The Running Man is becoming quite prophetic. We don't quite have a game show like it because, it was based on a game show. And actually, The Running Man, for many people that don't realize it, it was written by a gentleman named Richard Bachman. Well, that was a pseudonym for Stephen King. Stephen King wrote a group of short stories, The Running Man included under that name. But it originated from Stephen King, so if anybody would know about bizarre things and have a bizarre imagination, it would be Stephen King. But he's like a prophet because a lot of the things that he writes about, and him and George Orwell, are now coming true today. And again, we haven't quite got to the point where we have the Running Man game show, but we're to the point where reality TV is getting pretty darn close to it.
Well, we have all the gun camera footage of people being killed in Iraq and places, and then the video games simulate killing. So I think in a way they've turned war into a game show. I've talked to business owners.
Oh, there's no doubt about it, Alex. I feel for kids today because kids that play these games and all these things that you see advertised on TV, with the killing and all that stuff, it's going to callous them towards it. They're going to think it's everyday activity in the normal way of life, and I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. One thing that's always amazed me, Alex, is how sex is rated X, but violence is only R.
Oh, yeah, you can have two boxers beat the daylights out of each other, and that's family fun, but you see a woman's breast, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's just amazing how really strange we are as a society that sex could be X-rated. That's worse than running around with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and movies like that show mass murderers and, people being killed, left slasher movies, all that stuff. Those only get an R rating, but sex gets an X rating.
Very, very well said. I totally agree with you on that point. Well, they admit we're being desensitized to all this. Speaking of censorship, I know that we're not supposed to get into the whole story because some of that's private, but people always ask me about this. Here we are over a year later, and they censored that Homeland Security FEMA special where you blew the camps wide open. Now they're doing urban warfare drills. The Army admits they've got the camps. I know you've been out of pocket, but I can send you that if you'd like.
Sure.
We were sent an Army document a few months ago. The Army came out and said, you shouldn't have that. But yes, we have re-education camps. So much of this is coming out in the open now. And so recap for folks what happened with that episode and now what's happened with the new season.
Well, what happened with that particular episode was I believe it was Are We Turning Into a Police State? And, of course, we discovered the documents. Congressman Cohn of Tennessee was one of the co-sponsors of it. And we found the documents where Homeland Security ordered FEMA to build no less than 6 detention camps. And, of course, the cover story is it's for disasters like Katrina, so that they will have places. They're located in 6 different locations throughout the country, and that if there's a big disaster that hits, what they tell you is that it'll be good then because we'll have places to put for lack of better term, refugees from the disasters until they can find, living quarters, other places or whatever. But, how can they be refugee camps when they build them with fences with barbed wire on? If they're just simply holding you there as a temporary thing due to a disaster, well, then why would they need things of that order? Why you shouldn't be able able to come and go as you please. And the thing to always look at for people, the novice way to look at it is always look at the barbed wire on the top of the fence. If the barbed wire faces outward, it's to keep people from the outside getting in. If barbed wire faces inward, it's to keep people from the inside getting out. So that's one easy way when you ever see a barbed wire or a chain link fence with barbed wire on the top. Look at the way the barbed wire is facing. If it's facing in, it's to keep prisoners in there. If it's facing out, then it's to keep outsiders from getting in.
Also, if it's coiled on the top, it's a detention center in many cases as well.
Oh, yeah. If it's razor wire, absolutely. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. That's another cup of tea with that stuff. That razor wire will stop anybody from any direction.
Well, I've talked to program directors who've confirmed here on air that when you go that when you went on Mancow, or that when I go on his show, and now I've confirmed it's happened to my show some, that they scramble it when we give bill numbers and talk about things like Emergency Centers Establishment Act. What do you think's happening there?
Well, Mancow, I've done his show twice now on this book tour, and he's informed me he's outraged. He's going crazy over it. I appreciate Mancow a little bit because, he was the one who at first didn't believe that waterboarding was torture, but like a good journalist, he had it done to himself. And now he's completely reversed himself. He realizes that it is torture because he had it done to himself. Where they administered the waterboarding to him.
And you know it's bad because you've had it done to you.
Yeah, back in SEER school, we all essentially did many years ago. And they used to call it Chinese water torture, but they got a way of changing the names. Then it became waterboarding, and now thanks to Dick Cheney, it's called enhanced interrogation. But getting back to the show, that's what we learned. And of course, when we confronted Congressman Cohn with it, he actually read on the congressional floor an outrage statement against me, Michael Braverman, and my television show. So we actually went into the congressional record on it, but on that particular show. But the weird thing about it was it aired one time, and then it was taken off the air, and now True TV won't even acknowledge we did the show. It's out there on YouTube, I would guess. It's still there. You got to search and find it.
They also erased it off the DVRs, Governor.
Okay, well, that's news to me, too. So, obviously they don't want any of this out there for the public consumption or public comment or knowledge on it. And as far as the show goes this year, it's interesting because you were just talking about TSA and all that stuff.
Hold on, Governor. Stay there. Stay there. We've got to go to break. Governor Jesse Ventura is our guest. Get his book and support the First Amendment. They can't erase this off your TiVo. Democrats and Republicans. Infowarshop.com. And bookstores everywhere. We have it discounted with the Free Citizen Rule Book, Evil Constitution, at Infowars.